All right, before we dive in, just the usual, but very important heads up. This is all for educational purposes. It is absolutely not financial advice. You know the crypto space is volatile and risky, so please always do your own research and never, ever invest more than you can afford to lose.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we are breaking down day 7 of Dexfi's Bond Health, which was Saturday, December 13th, 2025. After a week of some pretty serious ups and downs, we're seeing some really interesting signs of stabilization. But there's also one key metric that needs some crucial context. Okay, let's get into it.
So here's the plan. First, we'll talk about what I'm calling stabilization day. Then, we're going to celebrate a huge new high for the fund's value. After that, we need to tackle that weekend volume dip and explain exactly why you probably shouldn't be worried about it. Then we'll zoom out for the full 7-day picture before we give our final verdict.
Okay, first up, the big theme today is stability. Honestly, after 5 days of decline and then that sharp recovery yesterday, seeing things just hold steady, it's exactly the kind of reassuring sign we've been waiting for.
And this right here says it all. A perfect 0% change in the bond-to-ETH ratio over the last 24 hours. Now, look, after days of wild swings, a flat day might seem a little boring, but in this context, it is a huge positive signal.
The ratio is holding firm at 0.0247 ETH, exactly where it was yesterday. So what does that really mean? Well, it suggests that the divergence we saw, where all these altcoins were kind of getting hammered compared to ETH, might finally be finding a floor. It's like the market is just taking a breath, and for now, the bleeding has stopped. All right, let's move on, because while the ratio was holding its ground, the actual value of the protocol was doing something very exciting.
And here is the real headline of the day. The fund's value just hit over $1.83 million. That's its highest point in the entire 7-day period we've been tracking. This is just a powerfully bullish signal for the health of the whole system.
Now, what's really cool about this slide is the perspective it gives us. Compared to day 1, the fund has grown by a solid 3.2%. This shows that even while the ratio was struggling earlier in the week, the core asset value of the protocol has been on this clear, steady upward trend. So, where is all this growth coming from? Well, it's a really healthy mix of 3 things. First, we saw another 101 new bonds get minted, so demand is still there. Second, the price of ETH itself has been going up. And third, the system is just working like it's supposed to, with fees compounding back into the fund and making it stronger.
Okay, now we need to talk about the one number from today that might look a little concerning if you just glance at it. But, as always in this space, context is everything. Total 24-hour volume dropped by 44% from the day before. I mean, that's a significant decrease. And if you saw that number all by itself, you might start to worry. But here is that crucial context. This is an absolutely normal, totally expected Saturday dip. Trading volume across pretty much all of crypto slows way down over the weekend. Traders, institutions, they step away. This is not a Dexfi-specific issue, it is a market-wide pattern. And this table just confirms it. I mean, look at some of the biggest pairs in the ecosystem. KDA volume is down 63%, Zora is down 54%. You see this kind of broad decline pretty much across the board, which really just reinforces that weekend effect. However, there are always a few outliers, and these are fascinating. ELE and BNKR completely bucked the trend. ELE's volume almost tripled, and BNKR's more than tripled. Now, what's driving that? Could be anything. A project announcement, a surge in community chatter. We'll have to dig deeper, but that kind of movement makes them 2 tokens to definitely keep an eye on heading into next week.
So, with all that daily data in mind, let's zoom out a bit. After 1 full week of tracking this, how is the protocol really holding up?
This table really pulls it all together. Over the week, we see a tiny 1.2% decline in the ratio, but we see a slight increase in the dollar price, really strong growth in the fund, and a steady increase in the total number of bonds. And this right here, this is probably the most important comparison on the whole screen. The key takeaway is this. Over 7 days of volatility, the fund's value grew by 3.2%, which has more than canceled out the ratio's small 1.2% dip. This is exactly how the system is designed to work. With ETH going up and fees compounding, it acts as a buffer to protect the protocol's overall value.
And just a quick look at the chain split shows everything is rock solid. The allocation hasn't changed from yesterday, which tells us there haven't been any major strategic shifts in where the protocol is putting its assets.
All right,
Let's pull all these threads together and deliver our final health assessment for day 7.
Our verdict for today is a solid green, healthy, and that's the second healthy day in a row since the ratio stabilized, which is a fantastic sign.
And why are we calling it healthy? It's simple. The ratio has stopped falling. It's stable. The fund is stronger than ever, hitting a new 7-day high. Demand for new bonds is still there. And critically, that big drop in volume is just an expected part of the normal weekend cycle.
So this leaves us with the key question as we head into the rest of the weekend. Has the ratio really found a new floor at 0.0247, or is this just a temporary pause before more volatility? Sunday's volume will probably stay low, so I think the real test is going to come on Monday when the markets fully wake up.
And as one final reminder, this has all been for educational and informational purposes only. It is not financial advice. Crypto and DeFi are highly volatile, so please be careful, do your own homework, and consider speaking with a professional before you make any investment decisions.